Get ready for a movie that is sure to take your breath away.
Hello, Adam Ryan Donato.
Hello, welcome back to my show where I talk about the new movie of the week, which is Top Gun Maverick. Now, this is a requel or sequel, reboot, whatever, of Top Gun, a popular 1980s film that is iconic, a Mount Rushmore movie for Tom Cruise for sure, who is one of the few remaining legitimate movie stars. This movie perfectly embodies that for Tom Cruise. He is a movie star to the full extent. You can tell that he is entirely bought into this movie. He does one of the best performances he's done in the last decade, which I'm trying to think of what else he's been in. Very selective with his work. I mean, I guess it's better than The Mummy, but I think he does a better job here than he does in the Mission Impossible movies, which those are more of action type movies. And this is more of an emotional type of an experience. So Edge, Top Gun. I rewatched Top Gun recently the other day because I love it. It's a great, phenomenal movie. Now, it's not my personal favorite because there's a blockbuster bracket full of like Aliens, Jaws, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, The Matrix, and this is up against all those, and it's definitely not as good as any of those movies. But just because it's lumped in with other great movies doesn't mean it's bad. This movie, from the music to the performances to the tragedy to the rise to the victory, it is a perfect movie for what it is. One of the most iconic of the 1980s. This movie, we see Maverick is older, and he is still a captain, a fighter pilot captain. He has not moved up because he knows where he belongs. He gets recruited to be the teacher of the new Top Gun flight crew. This is going to be a challenge for him because he still views himself as a pilot and not a teacher, and it's even worse because one of the students is Goose's son, who is called Rooster. The production value is fantastic. I will confidently say this now. This movie will get nominated for at least 3 Oscars, and it'll win at least 1 Oscar. Best sound, the sound is phenomenal. This movie has edge of your seat action, and when you are doing where you go up, you really feel it. You really feel what it's like to be inside of a fighter jet or whatever plane they're in. We saw it in Dolby, and I genuinely feel like if you close your eyes, it would sound like you're there. Best visual effects, I know there's CGI in this movie, but you could have fooled me because this movie looks absolutely gorgeous, especially the way they filmed the cockpit scenes when they go on top of each other. And more so than the first movie, I understand the action that's going on. That's very important because I'm very dumb and I know nothing about planes, clearly. Best original song for Lady Gaga, I thought it was very good. It doesn't obviously touch any of the music from the original, but it's still very, very good. And if Billie Eilish in No Time to Die can win, then Lady Gaga will certainly get nominated at least. Cinematography, I wouldn't mind a nomination. This movie looks gorgeous. It's visually stunning. Props to Joseph Kosinski, the director who directed Tron and Oblivion, 2 movies that I enjoy. Visually, they're both gorgeous, but their scripts leave a little bit to be desired. I'd probably go with Oblivion over Tron, Tom Cruise. And that's probably why, because you have a legitimate movie star in the lead role instead of like some kid from Tron. And then CGI Jeff Bridges. Speaking of CGI characters, Val Kilmer's in this movie, I guess. He's probably my biggest complaint about the movie because he doesn't have a very large role in this. It kind of feels like in Rogue One when Grand Moff Tarkin is CGI'd in there. It's just awkward and weird, and the way they use him is as if he's not a movable piece on the board, like it's if he wasn't available to do the movie. He's so busy. Thought that was very awkward and weird. There's a lot of nostalgia in this movie. Obviously, it's another reboot, rehash, sequel. It's a Jurassic World. It's Force Awakens. It's exactly Force Awakens. It doesn't take any big swings whatsoever. It's a very safe, good movie, good time, crowd-pleasing movie. I think people will really like this. It's not personally my bag. I would go with a 4 out of 5. Fans of Top Gun will love this movie. Casual movie fans will really enjoy this. Honestly, your more critical fans, I'm sure this is going to have like an 86 from critics and 93 from audiences. That's my official prediction, with a 7.4 on IMDb. This movie is badass, and the heart works decently well. It doesn't take big swings like the first movie does. It doesn't have the balls the first movie does, but everything they're trying to accomplish works, except for, like I said, Val Kilmer, and then Jennifer Connelly I feel like is unnecessary. The first movie's only like 100 and something minutes long, and this is like 2 hours and 11 minutes. I feel like if you would have just cut Jennifer Connelly's character, I feel like we really didn't need her at all, because obviously she doesn't play the love interest from the first movie, but they act like we're supposed to care about her, and yeah, they developed the relationship. Fine. It's serviceable, but when everything else, like especially Miles Teller as Rooster, is working so well, and Hangman's character is working so well, John Hamm is killing it in this movie. It really makes stuff like Jennifer Connelly just kind of like being there as like his arm candy. It's just unnecessary. There's also like 2 endings of this movie, and I feel like that's fine because one of them them's your standard like Top Gun ending, and the second one's like, oh, let's do some more stuff, and yes, it still has to do with planes, but we're gonna diversify our action sequence here a little bit, and I thought that was a lot of fun. I really like what this movie does for Maverick. If you hate The Last Jedi, then you're gonna love this movie because Tom Cruise is exactly as you remember him in the first one. He's a badass fighter pilot. He's a smooth talking womanizer, fast talking kind of guy who disobeys authority and doesn't work well with others. He's been a fighter pilot all these years. He didn't quit or give up or anything. He's still badass and cool. This movie did make me think about Indiana Jones 5 a lot because Harrison Ford, 80 years old, is coming back to do another Indiana Jones movie, whereas Tom Cruise, honestly, he looks exactly the same as he has for the last few decades. A legitimate movie star. I don't even think we needed to do the whole like teacher route. I think the teacher route goes really well. He's still kicking. I mean, look at those Mission Impossible movies. This movie is badass. All the practical effects are amazing. It's a technical masterpiece of a movie, especially in a year where there's no Nolan movie. This movie will clean up in the technical category unless Avatar. Oh, Avatar is probably going to take everything away from it. That's whatever. But definitely a crowd-pleasing movie that people will enjoy. It's not personally my bag. I'm going to put it on the year below The Bad Guys, but ahead of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. 4-star movie. Very, very good, but just not personally my favorite. The military is so cool. It's just the same movie again. Like if it wasn't a Top Gun movie, it'd probably be a 5 for me. But the fact that it's a Top Gun sequel, and don't be like, oh, well, don't compare it to the original. Well, then don't call yourself Top Gun. Like you are selling your movie with the brand of Top Gun, and you are getting the box office benefits from being a Top Gun movie. So you're going to get the consequences of that. And I'm going to compare your movie to one of the all-time greats. Not only is the original shorter, but it's somehow the new one is more cheesy and less cheesy. Just the context is not there. I feel like nationalism was a lot more in back in the 1980s, and just here it's very out of place. Let me know how you feel about the movie. Where does Top Gun rank for you amongst 1980s blockbusters? Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all those other things, and keep riding down the highway to the danger zone. Life is a highway, and I'm gonna ride it to danger zone. Dum, dum, dum.